Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. It's 2025 and a strange quiet has settled over America's most iconic destinations. The silence is almost eerie, a stark contrast to the vibrant energy these places once radiated. Times Square's crowds are thinner, and Grand Canyon tour buses arrive half empty. Even the most famous sites, once bustling with visitors from every corner of the globe, now feel subdued and almost forgotten. This isn't a random dip. International tourists are staying away in record numbers, souvenir shops are closing early, ticket lines are gone, and the usual hum of excited chatter has faded. For the first 7 months of 2025, overseas visitors dropped by 1.6%, meaning over 3 million fewer people exploring, spending, and experiencing America. Airports that once buzzed with anticipation now echo with emptiness. The trend is clear. The return of the Trump administration and a more insular tone have made the U.S. seem less welcoming. New policies and rhetoric have sent a message that resonates far beyond the borders. The World Travel and Tourism Council reports the U.S. is the only major country projected to see a drop in foreign visitor spending this year. While other nations are seeing a rebound, America is falling behind. Real-time data shows airline bookings are down, and forecasts have flipped from expected growth to an 8.2% decline in arrivals. Airlines are cutting routes, and travel agencies are feeling the pinch. The message is resonating. America feels less hospitable, and travelers are canceling plans. Families, students, and business travelers are all rethinking their trips. This isn't just about fewer selfies at the White House, it's a fundamental shift in how the world views America. The country's image as a welcoming, must-see destination is fading. Once a top global destination, the U.S. is losing its appeal while other nations court international travelers. Cities in Europe and Asia are thriving, filled with visitors eager to explore. The result? Empty hotel rooms, vacant restaurant tables, and a growing economic and reputational cost. Local businesses, from big hotels to small diners, are feeling the impact. The world is rolling out the welcome mat, but America is rolling it up. The contrast couldn't be clearer, as other countries embrace visitors with open arms. The consequences are becoming impossible to ignore. America's fading allure is more than a tourism story, it's a warning sign for the nation's future. The economic fallout from this tourism slump is staggering. Across the country, cities that once thrived on a steady stream of international visitors are now facing a harsh new reality. The ripple effects are being felt far beyond the travel industry itself, touching nearly every corner of the American economy. The U.S. will lose $12.5 billion in international visitor spending this year alone. That's money that would have flowed into hotels, restaurants, shops, and local attractions, supporting thousands of small businesses and workers. Factor in lost growth, and the shortfall could reach $29 billion. This isn't just a temporary setback. It's a massive hole in the nation's financial outlook, with long-term consequences for recovery. That's not just numbers, it's lost jobs, shuttered businesses, and a blow to millions of American families. For many, these losses mean uncertainty about the future and a struggle to make ends meet. International visitor spending was set to top $181 billion, but now it's projected to fall below $169 billion. That's a dramatic drop, erasing years of steady growth in a matter of months. Every tourist dollar supports wages, from hotel staff to farmers. The impact stretches from big cities to rural communities, affecting people who depend on tourism for their livelihoods. Domestic tourism can't fill this void. Even with Americans traveling within the country, the gap left by international visitors is simply too large to bridge. Before this year, the industry was recovering and growing, now that momentum is gone. Hopes for a strong rebound have faded, replaced by concern and uncertainty. As other countries' tourism revenues climb, the U.S. is falling behind. Competitors are attracting travelers and investment, while America's share of the global market shrinks. Less income means less tax revenue for schools, infrastructure, and public safety. Communities everywhere are feeling the pinch, with vital services at risk. Julia Simpson of the WTTC calls it a self-inflicted wound, not a result of global recession or disaster. She warns that unless action is taken, the damage could deepen. The chilling effect of U.S. policies now carries a multi-billion-dollar price tag. The choices made today will shape the nation's economic future for years to come. The question, How much more can America afford to lose? The answer depends on whether leaders are willing to act before the deficit grows even larger. Nowhere is the decline more dramatic than with Canada, America's closest neighbor. In 2024, Canadians made over 20 million trips to the US, spending $20 billion. This year, 1/4 fewer Canadians visited. A collapse, not a dip. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, more Americans drove into Canada than vice versa. July 2025 saw Canadian car trips to the US drop 37%, plane trips 26%. The reason isn't currency or wanderlust, it's the political climate. Canadians now feel unwelcome, citing hostile rhetoric and fears of aggressive immigration enforcement. The impact is devastating for border communities, from Buffalo to Washington state. Local businesses are struggling, and the absence of Canadian visitors is a constant reminder of the cost. This is a clear example of how political rhetoric can rupture vital partnerships. The loss is immediate, profound, and costly. The sharp drop in tourism is no mystery. Experts point to new Trump administration policies since January 2025. The revived travel ban targets several African and Middle Eastern countries, sending a global message of exclusion. A new $250 visa integrity fee for non-visa waiver countries like Mexico, India, Brazil, and China will push U.S. visa costs to $442, among the world's highest. For families, that's nearly $1,800 before booking a flight. Industry experts warn this will cut travel even further. Reports of mass immigration raids and aggressive airport questioning have spread, making many travelers think twice. The administration's trade wars have soured relations with key markets like China, whose visitor numbers dropped 14% in July. Together, these policies have built a formidable barrier of bureaucracy, cost, and fear, telling the world's travelers to go elsewhere. The national tourism decline is hitting local communities hard. Buffalo, New York, once thrived on Canadian shoppers and tourists. Despite a Buffalo Loves Canada campaign, visitors haven't returned, leaving malls empty and businesses struggling. Tourism officials are now redirecting marketing dollars away from Canada, admitting the market may be lost for now. Washington, D.C. faces a projected 5.1% drop in international visitors, hurting hotels, museums, and restaurants. Local officials are launching campaigns to counter negative national rhetoric and reassure travelers. Cities are spending their own resources to fight the federal government's message. The disconnect between national policy and local economic reality is stark. Both Buffalo and D.C. are fighting uphill battles to stay afloat. The consequences aren't abstract, they're felt on Main Street and in city budgets. Workers' livelihoods depend on a vibrant global visitor economy. The pain is real and it's growing. America's declining appeal isn't just economic, it's cultural. In New York, the International Lindy Hop Championships were postponed after a wave of cancellations from Canadian and French dancers who no longer felt welcome. An empty Harlem dance hall now symbolizes a broken cultural bridge. This isn't isolated. Academic conferences, music festivals, and sporting events are facing similar hurdles. Securing visas is harder, and many international participants are opting out. America's role as a global hub for culture and innovation is at risk. When events move elsewhere, the U.S. loses more than money, it loses influence. The long-term damage to America's soft power could be profound. Cultural isolation is impoverishing the nation in ways dollars can't measure. Across the industry, experts are sounding the alarm. This downturn is a self-inflicted crisis. Julia Simpson of the WTTC says the U.S. is putting up a closed sign while others roll out the welcome mat. Economists link the decline directly to policy and rhetoric, not global trends. The budget for Brand USA, America's tourism marketing arm, was slashed from $100 million to $20 million, crippling its ability to compete. Experts warn that reputational damage can take years to repair. Tourists may not return. The consensus, without a major change in policy and tone, the U.S. will keep losing ground. The alarm bells are ringing, but is anyone in Washington listening? As U.S. tourism falls, the rest of the world is booming. Other countries are launching marketing campaigns, simplifying visas, and investing in tourism infrastructure. The global tourism pie is growing, but America's slice is shrinking. Europe and Asia are thriving, with travelers from China, India, and Canada choosing new destinations. US visits from Western Europe are down, while intra-European and Asian travel surges. Canadians are exploring their own country or heading to Mexico and the Caribbean. Modest gains from Central and South America can't offset massive losses elsewhere. High visa fees threaten to close off even these markets. Once travel patterns change, winning back tourists is expensive and difficult. The world is learning to travel without America, and the US risks becoming an afterthought. The economic losses are clear, but the deeper cost is to America's global reputation. This is a consequence that can't be measured in dollars alone. It's about how the world sees the United States, and how Americans see themselves in the world. For generations, the US was a beacon of hope and opportunity, a magnet for tourists, talent, and investment. People from every corner of the globe dreamed of visiting, studying, or building a future here. The American dream was a powerful draw, shaping lives and inspiring nations. Now, that image is being replaced by one of suspicion and exclusion. Stories of difficult border crossings and unwelcoming policies are spreading, making travelers and investors think twice. This shift affects foreign relations, business, and America's ability to lead globally. When the US is seen as closed off, its influence in international organizations and negotiations weakens. A 2025 survey found 72% of North American travelers believe Americans are now seen more negatively abroad. This perception isn't just anecdotal, it's backed by data and echoed in conversations worldwide. Rebuilding trust and goodwill is a monumental task. Even if policies change, the damage lingers. Restoring a reputation takes years, sometimes decades, and requires consistent effort and openness. Stories of canceled events and anxious travelers will shape the global narrative for years. These experiences become part of the collective memory, influencing future decisions and attitudes. Competing nations are seizing the opportunity to promote themselves as friendlier alternatives. They're welcoming visitors, students, and businesses that might once have chosen the US. The 2025 tourism slump is more than an economic problem, it's a crossroads for America's identity. It forces a reckoning with what the country stands for and how it wishes to be seen. The empty landmarks are a warning. Isolationism comes with a steep, lasting price, both for the economy and the nation's soul. The world is watching, and the choices made now will echo far into the future.